Right. So Andrew Cuomo's back in the game,
He is.
and he's aiming for the mayor's seat in the 2025 election.
Wow.
This is big news, and we're going to deep dive into it right now.
Yeah.
What his potential return could actually mean for, everyday New Yorkers.
Right. For the people living and working in the city.
Exactly.
Yep.
We got articles here from Fox News, NBC New York, and the New York Times.
Oh, great sources. A nice range of perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump right in.
Okay.
His campaign launch video.
Yes.
It's really something. He's talking about New York City being in crisis.
Yeah.
Homelessness, crime.
Yeah.
That sense of unease, a lot of people feel on the subways these days.
Right. He's hitting those points hard, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like that feeling that a lot of New Yorkers have, that anxiety.
Yeah.
He even uses phrases like random violence. I noticed that to
Yeah.
really kind of drive that home.
Mm-hmm.
He's positioning himself as that experienced leader, the one who can bring back a sense of safety and order.
He's really leaning into that experience.
Yeah.
He's not shying away from his past either.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, he's bringing up his time handling the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
Playing up his experience and leadership during that time.
Right. I mean, remember when he was doing those daily briefings?
Yeah.
He was almost like a national figure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it
Why
wasn't
is-
all smooth sailing, was it?
Exactly. That's the thing. That period was also marked by controversy,
Right.
especially the policies around nursing homes
Yeah.
and, of course, the sexual harassment allegations that led to his resignation.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a gamble to bring up that part of his past so directly.
It's a gamble, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's saying, I've made mistakes, but I've also learned from them. I've got the experience to handle the tough stuff.
Right.
But we can't forget, this isn't a one-man show.
It's not?
What about the competition? Eric Adams is running for re-election,
Yeah.
and he's facing an uphill battle.
I'm sure with all the challenges the city's going through right now.
Right, exactly. So you've got these two figures, both with their own baggage,
Right.
vying for the same position.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Oh, absolutely. And then
Yeah.
you've got other candidates, too, like Comptroller Brad Lander
Right.
and a whole bunch of state senators and assembly members all hoping to make their mark.
Yeah, it's going to be a crowded race.
It is. And the New York Times article,
Yes.
it really highlights how Cuomo's opponents are planning to use his past against him,
Uh-huh.
especially that sexual harassment scandal.
Right.
And they even quote one of his accusers.
Okay.
She says, "An unrepentant sexual harasser who resigned in disgrace should not be the mayor of New York City."
Wow, strong words.
Yeah, for sure. And, they're really pushing this message. I mean, the article mentions Brad Lander teaming up with an anti-harassment advocate
Really?
to make sure voters don't forget about it.
It's a risky strategy, though, isn't it?
It is.
Because on the one hand, it reminds voters about those allegations.
Right.
But it could backfire if it's seen as too negative or opportunistic. Right. They're just trying to capitalize on this.
Yeah. And then you've got that NBC New York article.
Yes.
They bring up the Department of Justice findings.
All right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
They concluded that Cuomo did create a hostile work environment for multiple women,
Right.
but he's denying all of it.
He is.
So you have this clash of narratives.
Right. A he said, she said situation.
Exactly. And voters are going to have to decide who they believe.
It's tough because the DOJ investigation, it carries a lot of weight,
It does.
and their findings directly contradict Cuomo's statements.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
It is.
And this isn't even the only controversy he's facing.
Oh, right.
There's also the whole issue with his handling of COVID-19 in nursing homes,
Oh, yeah.
specifically the policy of sending recovering patients back to those facilities.
Yeah, that was a big one.
It was a huge decision, and it drew a lot of criticism.
Absolutely, especially when it came out that the death toll among nursing home residents in New York was much higher than originally reported.
Right. So he's trying to make this comeback,
Mm-hmm.
talking about his experience offering solutions.
Yeah,
But can he convince voters to look past all of this?
right. Can they trust him to lead the city?
That's the big question.
It is. Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in all the, the politics of it all.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we got to remember this election.
Yeah.
This is about the people.
Exactly.
It's about how a potential Cuomo mayoralty would actually affect daily life in the city.
Okay, so let's get down to a question. One of Cuomo's big talking points,
Mm-hmm.
crime.
Right.
He's painting this picture of a city where people just don't feel safe,
Yeah.
especially in the subway.
I've heard that.
And he's even using that phrase, that really loaded phrase,
Which one?
law and order,
Oh, yeah.
which brings up all sorts of, different associations for people.
It does. It's a bit of a tricky approach, isn't it?
It is.
Because he's also saying that, the police have been devalued. He's trying to appeal to those who are calling for tougher measures, but also to those who are concerned about police overreach.
It's a tough line to walk.
It is a tough line to walk.
So what would this actually look like, if he's elected?
Right.
I mean, what would we see on the streets? Would there be more police presence?
Yeah.
I mean, would certain neighborhoods be prioritized over others?
It makes you think about, how it would affect your personal sense of safety, your commute.
Absolutely.
Would you feel more secure?
Right.
Or would it create a different kind of tension?
These are the questions we need to be asking.
Absolutely.
Because they have real consequences for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
And crime isn't the only issue he's talking about.
Right. What else?
Homelessness.
Yeah.
He's talking about it in pretty stark terms.
I've noticed that he seems to be tapping into that, that feeling of discomfort a lot of people feel when they see someone, struggling on the streets.
Right.
And he's making it very clear that he sees this as a major problem.
But how would he address it?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Would he focus on expanding shelters, mental health services?
Right.
Affordable housing initiatives?
Right. What are the specifics?
These are the details that matter.
They do, because they would directly impact
Absolutely.
not only those experiencing homelessness, but also, the fabric of our neighborhoods.
Yeah. How would it change things for people?
Exactly. I mean, think about the potential impact on your own community.
Right.
Would there be more shelters in your area?
Yeah.
How would that affect housing costs?
Yeah.
Would it lead to more support services or a different kind of, tension or dynamic?
Like, these are the very real consequences we have to think about.
Absolutely.
And then there's the subway.
Oh, yeah, the subway.
He's portraying it as a place where people are just afraid to even stand near the tracks.
It's a powerful image.
It is. And he's calling for a permanent, significant increase in police presence down there.
Wow. So if you're someone who relies on the subway...
Right. Imagine what that would mean for you.
Yeah, more officers patrolling the platforms.
Right.
More security checks, maybe longer wait times, more delays.
It's a trade-off.
It's a complicated trade-off.
It is.
So it really comes down to this.
Yeah.
What kind of city does Cuomo envision,
Mm-hmm.
and how would that vision translate into your everyday life?
We're talking about potential changes to your commute,
Absolutely.
your sense of safety, even the way your neighborhood looks and feels.
Right.
This election isn't just about political maneuvering.
Yeah.
This is about the future of New York City
Exactly.
and your place in it.
I mean, it feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
We are.
You know, Cuomo, he's really banking on his name recognition and that, that I've been there, done that attitude.
Yeah.
But can he really overcome all those controversies that are still hanging around him?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Will voters be willing to look past all that?
Right.
Or are those going to be red flags? It's a gamble, for sure, for him to put himself back in the spotlight.
Big time.
And it's a gamble for New Yorkers, too,
Sure
right?
it is.
I mean, this isn't just about picking a name on a ballot.
Exactly.
This is about what kind of leadership we want for our city.
What kind of future we want.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes beyond just Cuomo and Adams, right?
It does.
I mean, we need to look at all the candidates,
Right.
all their platforms, and really think about what their policies would mean for our everyday lives.
It's about the specifics.
Yeah, because this isn't some abstract political game,
Yeah.
This is about real people, real neighborhoods, the future of this city.
The city we all share.
Exactly.
What's interesting to me is how much this election reflects where we are as a city right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're dealing with crime, homelessness, affordability, all these anxieties, and it's all playing out in this race.
So as we, head into this election,
Right.
we got to stay informed,
Right.
engage in these discussions, and make our voices heard.
Exactly. Don't just let the headlines decide for you.
Right.
Talk to your neighbors, dig a little deeper, and think about what kind of future you want for New York City.
Exactly.
And ask yourself what really matters in a leader.
Yeah.
Is it experience, accountability,
Right.
vision?
Those are the big questions.
They are.
Because at the end of the day, it's up to us,
the voters.
the voters, to decide who we trust to lead us forward.
That's right.
And this deep dive has given us a lot to chew on.
It has.
And this is just the beginning.
Oh, yeah. This race is just getting started.
So as we continue to follow this story, let's stay engaged, stay informed,
Right.
and make our voices count.
Because the future of New York City, it's literally in our hands.
That's it for this deep dive into Andrew Cuomo's mayoral bid.
Phew.
and what it could mean for you.
A lot.
We hope this has given you some food for thought,
I hope so.
and we encourage you to keep exploring these issues.
Yes, definitely.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged,
Stay informed.
and keep those critical thinking caps on.
Absolutely.